In this video I'm going to talk about how to prevent a hiatus hernia. Again, it's important, the importance of water can never be denied. Before I ever suggest people to correct their diet or take supplements, I always insist that they increase their intake of water because it is so important to every part of the body. So water is taken in, passes through the esophagus, which is the long tube that goes into the stomach. Here we have a sphincter. This is a sphincter. It's called a cardiac sphincter, which opens whenever food passes through, goes into the acid in the stomach. Again, when it passes through, it goes past, here we have the diaphragm. This here is a muscle that separates the chest from the abdomen. And the acid in the stomach is here. And of course, as I explained in my other video on the stomach, you have the outer part of the stomach, which is lined with water, protecting the muscle from the acid in the stomach. It's like a little cushion. And when the food goes into the stomach, we have, now again, we don't have to go in too deeply into it, but we have the liver works on the food and the pancreas works on the food, depending on what food is taken in. And if it's fats, then the liver works on it, and if it's sugar, then the pancreas works on it with insulin. Or if it's a main meal, nice nutritious meal, then pancreatic enzymes are released into the stomach, and they help to break down the food. And the other part, the very important part of the pancreas, is it secretes, it mixes with water, and it secretes an alkaline solution that prepares the small intestine to receive the acid from the stomach, so that it neutralizes this area here. So, and then the small intestine, of course, in the small intestine, the purpose of the small intestine is, when the food has been broken down, is to take nutrients into the blood, absorb nutrients into the blood and around the body, so that we can have cell regeneration and energy, and feed the brain and create new cells if need be. So there's a lot of work that goes on from the small intestine, from the nutrients. And then we have the large intestine, and the large intestine is where the peristaltic action, the muscle of the large intestine, squeezes as much water as possible out of the food that's been taken in order to preserve as much water as possible. And then the hard stool then is passed and it reaches the anus. So that is the normal passage, and as you can see the arrows, that's the way food passes, and that's a nice, happy, well-hydrated system. Now what happens, now we come back to that, if we get a problem, then we can see the problem, and then if we want the solution, then all we have to do is revert back to the right way of looking after our body. So in the case of a hiatus hernia, Dr. Madeline talks about it, and he says that if there's a lot of food and very little water going into the system, maybe the person over a long period of time is drinking a lot of teas and coffees and soft sugary drinks, alcohol, and even diluted water. It's not water. Water must be water. So again, over a long period of time, what happens is acid is continually going into the stomach, going into the stomach, going into the stomach. When people eat their meals, they usually drink, they might drink alcohol, or they might drink a fizzy drink, or they might drink a diluted drink, or they mightn't drink anything at all. And what happens is there's a build-up of acid. And what happens there is, this is an opening at the diaphragm, and it's called the cardiac sphincter. And what happens there is that begins to open up, begins to get lax. And the contents of the stomach, the body begins to work in the opposite direction. So the muscle contraction starts to backflow, because it doesn't want to take anything acid into the intestine. So it starts to backflow. So the pyloric sphincter here, that normally releases when the small intestine is alkaline, that shuts down and nothing is going in. So the person is eating and they're getting more and more acid reflux or dyspepsia, pain after they eat. They might get heartburn. And as I say, over a long period of time, what happens then is the stomach is actually pushed through the cardiac sphincter and from the abdominal wall, and it begins to protrude into the cavity in the chest, where it shouldn't be at all. And that is where a hiatus hernia starts. And of course, then people go to the doctor and they get operation and whatever the case may be. Now, I won't go into the other conditions that can occur because of this continual acid reflux. Because, you know, even a person did have the operation and had the hiatus hernia corrected, that's not the end of the problem. You know, we still have to, because we have other systems going on here, the pancreas and the liver and the large and small intestine, that can suffer severely if the condition isn't improved. So in the case, if a person feels that they've got acid reflux, or they've got, you know, this dyspepsia after eating, or they've got heartburn, or maybe when they go to bed at night when they lie down, then that might be more severe, because the backflow would be a lot easier when a person is lying down, or they might have vomiting. Then the best thing to do is start drinking water. And of course, when you drink water, you start bringing the body back into a normal balance again. And, you know, looking after our food, there are other things, you know, make sure that we're eating the right foods as well. It's terribly important, and doing a bit of exercise. But I'm just talking here, Dr. Mangala specialises in talking about water and its effect on the body. So as I say, come back, start drinking the water. The earliest sign of problems, just increase your water. And I would even say that for any condition in the body. But I'll talk about more later on.